The main reason why I wanted to go to Ecuador was because I love to travel, and I also love to give back to the community. Like, I'm a social work major, and I feel like it's important to give back to people who are less fortunate.
Service learning is really open to absolutely anybody who wants to have this kind of experience.
I wanted to learn about other cultures and kind of just see beyond Rhode Island, and it turned out to be a lot more than that.
And we have an international service agreement with a university down there. So we had a natural sort of built-in support system.
Everyone's always excited to see us. Although they didn't have much, they were always like offering, oh, do you want something to eat?
The people were very, very helpful, more than willing to kind of help the non-Spanish speakers or the less Spanish-speaking people to kind of help us along to get to where we had to go.
We start with sort of an adjustment to the altitude kind of day, and then we start to visit different service learning sites. Some groups have broken up and gone to different places. Half the group may go to the domestic violence center, the shelter for women of domestic violence. Other students may go to the women's prison. Others may work with street kids.
We went to the Henry Davis orphanage at one point, and that was really eye-opening.
They were all sitting down very calmly, and then our guide addressed them and told them that we were here to play with them and spend time with them, and they all just came running down a hill, and I had like 5 kids tugging at me, asking me to play tag in Spanish.
With one of the Spanish-speaking students that I went with, we were able to make a fun little game called ¿Quién está en medio? It's like a little like children play game that we would play in recess. We translated and made it like towards Ecuador, like an Ecuadorian style to say.
That was one of the things that was so shocking, was the appreciation that you felt from the kids.
They were full of excitement. They were running towards me and they were like, ah, and I was like, ah! And then they would like touch my hair and be like, oh, it's just like, it was different from their nice sleeky hair and curly hair. So
they had told us that a majority of the kids there have been victims of sexual abuse, or their parents are, have either passed away or in the prison system. So they've really gone through a lot, and seeing that and still seeing how optimistic they are and happy they are.
My experience with visiting the women's prison was very eye-opening, very, I guess, culture shocking, because it really was ran like a community. It was nothing like you would see it on TV or even what you would see here in America. They were pretty much fending for themselves, pretty much. You have to cook for yourself, you have to make a living for yourself. But also it was really interesting because a lot of them were really, really creative. Like this lady I saw, she had like her own spa in the prison, which I thought was pretty smart.
It's just warmed my heart to see the way students have been able to really engage in a way that you can never get in a classroom.
There was a lot of things that were pretty mind-blowing. I think just the scenery in general, like being surrounded by all the volcanoes.
A lot of green everywhere, as you would imagine. The houses are made out of just really stone, kind of clay materials almost. So very, as unfortunate as it is to say, it's a very third world kind of landscape that you get when I think about there, but the beauty of it at the same time is kind of indescribable in its own way.
oh my gosh, we had a moment in the trip to go to see a real waterfall. The waterfall was breathtaking. Just seeing like the water just like come out of the rocks and the mist just hit you.
One of the people that we stayed with took us on a hike through the Amazon, and he was just excited to show us all the different plants and wildlife.
So for me to see students embracing a different language, culture, people, deal with the altitude, which is quite high in Quito, Ecuador, and just be willing to explore and experience and be open to whatever comes up has always amazed me.
Even the people in Quito and the people in the Amazon, they lived off of kind of what they grew, and they used everything that they had. Like our meals, there was a rule where we stayed where if you don't, whatever you take, you need to eat.
Some of us had the opportunity to work with machetes while we were in the Amazon, as far as chopping down different parts of the banana tree to help us, and plantains as well, which is a big staple down there.
One day we went down to a village called Ninawachi, which is probably like a 3-hour drive from the capital, Quito. And the first thing we did was we went down to some small, like a house where this guy just has like a restaurant out of with no name, and the town pastor, who was our guide, brought us down there, and it was some of the best food I've ever had. The guacamole, the salsa, and the pork or beef, whatever it was all delicious.
Learning in the sense of this trip, on an individual level, it's something you can't experience inside of a classroom at all. It's a very personal experience, and you learn, what you take away from it is more than just learning about that culture or those individuals that we were working with, and more at the same time learning about you as a person and kind of taking what you have, or kind of what you take for granted, or what you have at home.
It humbled me a lot because, you know, sometimes we come in America and we forget about, you know, there's people in the world who wish that they had what we have here, and we take it for granted, I think.
Whether it was the kids or the people we stayed with, it kind of made me realize what's important and like what's worth spending time on.
Like the actual experience, seeing it is more than you could ever learn about within a classroom.